Welcome back to another Wartales video. I am very excited to be bringing this one to you today, actually. I am kicking off a run that is going to be quite fun because, look, there's been a fair bit of popularity for a couple of the videos that I recorded in the demo where I cut the party down to a very small number. In particular, the Robin Hood, one archer versus a brutal world video seemed to be pretty popular, so I thought I would try it again. Look, the the early access period has changed a few things, so I decided that instead of doing an archer, I would have to kind of have a bit of a think about which character I was going to do. But I kicked off a run and this is it. So, I've sped the video up, so it's at 4 times speed. It's still fairly long because there's a fair bit kind of to do and to set up in the video. And this run probably took me pretty close on 4 or 5 hours in the end as well. So it definitely wasn't something that was kind of quick to do and easy like in the demo, unfortunately. But it was a lot of fun and actually worked much better than I expected. Okay, so at the start of the video here, I am really just trying to get my my guy set up and trying to figure out which character I was actually going to use. So I started the game with the Swordsman, Brute, Warrior, and Spearman combo, because I pretty much figured that it needed to be one of the heavy armor wearer classes that was going to be by themselves, which is either the Brute, the Warrior, or the Swordsman. The Brute and the Swordsman were my two top picks because the Brute gets a legendary weapon, which helps an incredible amount, and the Swordsman just because of some of their skills. I thought these were the two most likely classes to pull it off, though like after playing it, I actually think that the Warrior might be able to as well. I feel like they'll have a little bit more of a problem, but I don't know. Anyway, it'll be fun. Hopefully me making this inspires some people to give it a shot and see how it goes. It's very much like I guess the Battle Brothers Lone Wolf kind of playstyle where your aim is to have one guy who is taking on the world. At the start of the game here, I am definitely really just kind of trying to get the character up to the base level of strength that they need to be able to survive by themselves. So you will see that I've got 3 party members to begin with for what was about 40 minutes at the start of the game, just doing some resource collection and a couple of the initial fights. I pretty much figured that I would be able to get one character running by themselves from kind of level 2 was my goal, because level 2 is where those characters get to start wearing heavy armor. And if this was possible with rangers, spearmen, or archers, I think you'd need to move that to level 3, just because they need some slightly better armor to withstand a couple of hits here and there. Okay, so as the squad kind of moved through here and fight some battles, I was sort of having a look at skills as I was leveling up. I have ended up going for, as I said, the heavy armor classes on them, and that was me just getting my fighter up to level 2. And the guy that I end up choosing as my lone wolf is indeed my swordsman. Now, swordsmen are not a character that I use a bunch in large parties, other than as tanks, not for any kind of particular reason, more just because I think I prefer how the other classes play. I think swordsmen are very self-sustaining, but not necessarily a class that brings like a huge amount of synergy. Now you will see that like there are some fights that are a little bit tough with a few people, so I actually run away from them. I'll cop some extra injuries and a little bit of damage as well. And at this point in the game, I was trying to figure out how much this guy would actually be able to do by himself as he gets stronger. So the main aim as I'm kind of moving through these is to get some shields and stuff, because I sort of figured I'll need to be ready to be like either playing sword and board or two-hander. I think the lone wolf character kind of needs to have both options available prior to a fight, so that I could switch it up depending on which group I was fighting. I decided to opt for a claymore, a two-hander to begin with, just because of the extra damage, and I felt like taking an enemy or two out to start with would be better. My fighter here did start with Wrath as well, another ability that you can use to do some damage, which I think pairs really nicely with a two-hander because you can kind of cleave, knock a couple of them down low on health, kill one using Wrath instead of his kick, and get that fury buff up for the next round as well. So I think the Swordsman was the better choice here, and I feel like Wrath is a skill that they kind of need to have in the beginning for this kind of run as well. So I pretty much pulled it down to, okay, we need heavy armor, and we need some AoE, and we need Wrath. It was an interesting, I guess, process trying to decide and go through those. But I would be really keen to hear if other people come up with other ways to run with few characters as well. I did choose a couple of bounties here just to get a little bit of gold in the bank. I chose ones that didn't have as much fighting in them, so that I could move through the this start bit that little bit easier as well. Doing a one-man run presents quite a number of problems in Wartales, and it actually makes some enemies that are not normally very dangerous much more dangerous. So hoodlums in particular, because they deal poison damage, you will see later in the run me kind of targeting hoodlums and that down first, because I really don't want to have to take any extra damage. So we're in a fight here, and because we have so few people, we actually do get into look, I won't say trouble, but a couple of my guys get knocked a little bit low in this fight. And so basically with the Swordsman, we're trying to figure out exactly what we're actually going to be able to get done. So I had aimed to, in the first instance, just go down to one Swordsman, do a couple of bounties, see what was going to happen. After I did a couple of bounties, I was kind of like, all right, my next step up would be not the Bandit Layer, but the Bandit Hideouts, the things that give them the little skulls to reduce the strength of the Bandit Layer. My next task after those was going to be the Bandit Layer itself. If I could take out the Bandit Layer itself, I was then going to see whether I could take out rat layers as well. Rat layers are one of the things that, if you can take out the extra outgrowths within them, you get some advanced materials for alchemy. I figured that I would probably need these alchemy ingredients if I was going to push the game much further and see just how far this individual swordsman could go. And so after rat layers, I wanted to see how we would go with something like the Sicker Hunt, a ghost pack, and then I even wanted to move on to the champions as well. So the champions are probably like the hardest challenge in terms of being a single character in the game, primarily because the champions get 3 sets of actions per turn, and that's regardless of how many characters are in your party. So having a large party, 10, 12 people, 16, 20 wolves, whatever I've seen some people have on Discord, the larger your party, generally the easier champions are, and also the stronger the weapons that they give you. So there are ways that you could do this run where you stack one of your champions so that they get the strongest stuff. But I really didn't want to do that. I wanted this to be as much kind of one character as possible. So I think this is the last little bit that I do with the 3 of them, where I do a little bit of mining and just spare this guy his life. And I think I fight the villagers after this as well. I decided to save the cannibal this run, whereas normally I side with the villagers because I feel like this guy is not necessarily in the right. So we fight the villagers. That's actually a pretty straightforward fight. Yeah, I mean, you know, they're wielding pretty basic pitchforks and not much armor or anything like that. Yeah, it was another little bit of experience for the characters, I guess. Another little bit of experience. So obviously it is a bit different to the Battle Brothers run where you're not starting with a single character. You're having to kind of build into it, but it's more just the way that the game is set up. If you went down to one character before you got any gear at all, you would be outclassed and you would be killed, definitely. Alrighty, so we're down to 3. I think the only other thing that might happen between here and heading back to town is picking up a second pony. So obviously heading into the heading into like a really small party with only one person, your carry weight is very, very limited. So having that ability to carry a little bit more in the game is very useful. And particularly with the one man, I needed to kind of stockpile resources before every now and again I would maybe hire someone to spend some of them, that sort of thing. I did also want to check out what armor layers I might want to get. So I picked up the warrior's armor layer there to add a little bit of strength to my character. And I mined enough resources to make sure that I could craft some armor for him as well. I didn't want to have to rely on a merchant nearby selling armor, so I did get enough materials just to make a set. And that was my go point, which we will get to very, very soon. So this little estuary here, if you bring some grain along, you can pick up a free pony, which is pretty handy. Alrighty, so we're heading back into town very soon. We'll craft a little bit of armor, and then boom, we are on our way with the one-man army. I do see the rat infestation and decide, maybe that's something we can do a little bit quicker. So I have to admit, I was hoping to get a, like, you know, one of the super rare superior crafts, so that I could put 3 armor layers in. I did not get lucky with that, and I don't think I could have afforded another armor layer just yet either. And I just make one more set of armor just in case. And I'm trying to decide here whether I need to keep my squad mates around, and I end up saying no. So they are all dismissed, and we are down to Urras, our swordsman champion. Buy and stock up on some food. And one of the things, I'm not in camp for very long, obviously, during these moments, but you will see that, or you may notice that I do start feeding him alcohol, and I do that every rest that I possibly can. I actually want him to become an alcoholic in this game only. Basically because if he drinks every rest, he will actually get to the point where he gets a title and a stat boost from it, which is exactly what we want to happen, because it means we can get some extra strength, some extra movement, that kind of stuff. So we're all about the titles. The titles are what is going to give us the edge, and we just got a couple of titles there, which are stat points that you get to spend as if you leveled up. You just don't get any new skills. Okay, so as I said, I wanted to do a little kind of bandit mercenary group, which we managed to defeat just in the forest there. Used some tools and stuff to repair myself up, and then started getting straight into the Dark Mist Tower, which is one of the first kind of bandit camp areas. That ended up being not too bad. 3 bandits down, and I got to level 3. So here I was trying to really decide whether I wanted to go for the skill where you gain extra Val for hitting enemies with an AoE attack, or whether I wanted to do the engaged version. I ended up opting for gaining Valor points on engagement, in part because I was fighting a lot of hoodlums and poachers. Poachers knocking you out of combat actually works really, really well for getting more than 1 Valor point per combat round. But my general approach was trying to kill as many of them as quickly as I could. So you will see, like, I actually get pretty low in a couple of these combats. It definitely wasn't a gimme. And I think without some of the titles, so there we are, I'm only literally one hit away from death there. If I took a fight without enough Valor points stored up, if I took a fight without armor, then it would go badly most of the time. I needed to have the Valor points, I needed to have the armor, or else the enemy would have been able to take me down. So I stock up absolutely massively on tools here, and a little bit more alcohol as well. I do buy a couple of dishes just to try to get some, improved constitution when it's available, but I have no cook. I have no blacksmith now. I have no tinker, no nothing like that. And I do, I basically do need to do everything solo, obviously. It was at about this point in the run that I actually realized, if I want this level 5 crafted weapon, I actually need to kill a ghost pack. I hadn't kind of pondered whether it would be possible solo yet, but I definitely did want to get that level 5 weapon, because it was going to be the thing that really clinched whether I could do some of the challenges for sure. I didn't think it was cheating necessarily to go and help out some guardsmen there, so just went and helped those guardsmen out quickly too. I kind of continued around, wanted to test out how it was going against animals. I was only getting kind of packs of 3, 4, 5 sorts of animals, so they felt pretty good as well. And then sort of started exploring around some more. So this is me taking out some of the skulls. So this is a group that I fought at the start with 4 in my team, and it's definitely a not the most straightforward fight. With 4 in the team, this group was quite tough. Coming back a little bit stronger with some armor and some skills, and better weapons as well, made it much easier. Taking them down, no problems at all. And poachers obviously deal not an incredible amount of damage. It's actually normally the annoyance factor of fighting them, but they did a pretty good job. Okay, so at this point I kind of decide, look, I'm already here, how about I see how a rat's lair goes. I do get a couple more wolves, good for the leather and the teeth and that kind of thing, because I did want to purchase a few patterns, and obviously without a thief I couldn't steal the patterns too, so some extra animals weren't too bad. Okay, rat lair number 1. I jump into this rat lair fight and I realize that where the outgrowths are, I pretty much have no chance of getting to them and then back. So I retreat from the battle. I rest up and gain another couple of valor points. I actually get a title at the same time, which was great, from the alcohol, which I'd already mentioned. And then I jump back into the fight. So this one looked better for me because I could reach an outgrowth on my first turn and almost take it down and kill it. The rats charging in and giving me extra valor points is also nice here. And the kind of spawn point for them wasn't absolutely terrible either. The not having first aid is where this fight starts becoming a little bit problematic as well, though, because as these rats kind of start building up in numbers, you will see my fever stacks are getting up there. So I'm already up to 4 fever stacks, which means an extra 40% damage taken. And I'm really trying to figure out here whether I even have a chance of killing it. My swordsman gets very low, and my next turn I can either decide to kill it or kill the brood mother, sorry. So I end up deciding, no, I cannot survive another round, not with 6 stacks of fever, 4 stacks of poison, and I go and kill her. So I managed to get 1 outgrowth down in the first rat's lair, which was good. After the rat's lair, I do head back, and my tools and my medicine are starting to run a little bit low at the moment. So I probably should have stocked back up as I ran past town there. So we get into the old customs post here, and I actually do make a mistake. So I'm lucky that this is not an Iron Man mode run. I might try something like this on Iron Man at some stage, but this fight in particular was a tough one. So I think we've got 4 level 3 enemies, and just with the hoodlums, poachers, and marauders that were there, it was a tough map to fight them on. I thought maybe I would have it, but I get poisoned here, I get knocked back, so I get a double poison and then a crit from the marauder, and my health just starts running very low very quickly. I kind of thought, look, if all 3 of them didn't get an attack there, maybe I could have finished it off, but unfortunately not that time. So I do restart that battle. I think it's the only battle I restart for the whole run. And I actually learned something through this battle that helps me out later in the game. So on reloading and restarting, I come in, start attacking, and realize that these guys are still a little bit too strong if I do not close and kill one in the first turn. So I retreat, I heal up, I try again. You'll see it as a bit of a common theme, I think. And I noticed that the marauder in the top left there has actually lost his armor from my first fight, which is actually a really good thing from my point of view, because it does mean that if I carry some spare tools and some spare medicine and that sort of thing with me, I can actually jump in and start a fight and do pretty well with that. Now, I realize I cannot kill that one remaining archer, but I'm out of tools and medicine, so I head back to town and pick some more up. I do wish I'd grabbed some on the way through the first time, but alas, I can get a little bit tunnel visioned sometimes when I'm getting ready. I did really want an alchemist at this point to start making me some things, but wasn't entirely necessary, I guess. My main character is a blacksmith for the strength bonus in the beginning as well. And I've kept him, I keep him like that for the majority of the run, just in case I need to craft some things to sell as well. Alrighty, so we head in, and this is attempt number 3 on the Bandit Layer. The spread here is pretty bad. There's no real way for me to kind of engage and kill many on that first turn, but because they actually have low armor, it is a fight that I end up being successful in. Just the one poacher remaining, and down he goes. So 3 attempts on that customs post. It was definitely one of the harder fights in the beginning here, and needed me to I don't know whether it's cheesing to retreat and keep coming back in. So every time I retreat, obviously there is a cost associated with it. Spending some medicine that I can't make myself, and some tools, which is just a little bit of gold, I guess. But overall, you do have a little bit more money available in this run, just because you're not paying many wages, that kind of thing. What I probably should have done here is actually accept more of these quests rather than... Oh, and I guess I did accept 3 quests there. So it's not too bad. It's later in the run that I start doing some things that, don't make too much sense. All right. I don't know, maybe I got a bit tired, who knows. It was quite a long run in the end, and I did most of it in one go as well. So I get a tinker there just to make myself a tent. I didn't want to be resting, 5, 6, 7, 8 times each rest just to get 1 action point back each time. So I just got the tinker to build me a tent, and then kicked him back out of the party just so I can get back up to maximum valor points without resting as many times. So here I kind of have a couple of different goals. So my swordsman is not yet level 5. I definitely want him to get to level 5. I want to collect some ghost leather, and I just missed that group before they left for the morning. So that was a bit of a pity. I was a bit disappointed by that. So close. So I really want to get him to level 5 because getting him to level 5 unlocks a new skill. And that level 5 skill I did figure would be much more useful in a couple of the fights and settings. I hadn't actually decided which level 5 skill would be the best yet, but I knew that I would need either of them for the maximum effect. We get another title there. I was always excited to see titles being earned, as they're definitely the easiest way to get strong. Choosing a strength-based character for a lone wolf playthrough is actually really probably the best idea as well, just because of the spears on the ground. Spears on the ground scale with your strength, so the stronger you are, the more likely you are to, deal damage with that spear. And there being, 1 or 2 spears on the ground each fight as well means that you actually get really quite good value out of them, where they're chunking an enemy down massively. And I missed that ghost pack too. I could not believe that I had just missed 2. I should probably keep more of an eye on the clock actually. So I just ended up deciding, oh look, I'll just run around a little bit, collect a few more resources, and then head back when the ghost pack were close. Which I had some pitons around the cliffs there just to give myself a shortcut. And then I stand around and wait, eat some food, have a rest, and in we go. Ghost pack fight number 1. Okay, so I knew there was a trap there which I didn't want to run through. I'm not able to kill crazy numbers per turn. I can kill, sort of 2 per turn, which means that they do start stacking up faster than I can kill them. However, the fact that you wipe stacks of terror out when you kill an enemy is actually really, really useful, because it does mean that you just kind of balance how many times you're getting hit with how many things you can kill, and you keep those stacks of terror right down. I didn't know how the nightmare ability was going to work, to be honest, and I actually thought that I would be earning some additional stacks of terror at the end of each turn with his ability, but because you don't have 2 companions available, the nightmare doesn't do very much at all. Deals 16 to 20 damage per turn, something along those lines, but it's not too bad. So I finished that fight with, I think it was like 5 armor and 16 health. And we get our first ghost leather, which is necessary for crafting our level 5 sword. So this run doesn't rely on, RNG from merchants to get the right gear to make it happen. I did want it to mostly be about, have you got the ingredients for crafting, and can you do what I'm doing with this lone wolf playthrough just via crafted gear. I do keep an eye out for merchants with some good heavy armor. So there are some heavy armors that are much stronger than what you can craft as you level up anyway. I think I've seen some with up to like 90 armor on them. And for the people that run around in a giant pack of wolves, you might see some higher armors as well. So I kind of check every merchant that sells weapons and armor, and we are off to kill the Bandit Layer now. While we're running around, I do have a little look at the armies of Lahat and Venali fighting each other, but I decide that, fighting such a big group is definitely beyond me at the moment. So I've got 93 teeth. I'm hoping for a few more teeth so I can buy a pattern from the tracker if I want to. Not super urgent, and I'm also going to hand in my tracker's quest as well. And this is one problem sometimes with the merchants that sell armor. The armor that merchants sell is often comes with no patches, no armor patches. And not having armor patches does mean that you lose a chunk of strength pretty much straight off the bat, because you can get armor patches for a fairly good amount of strength. As you can see though, we're getting quite a few easy enough fights here. I know this is one of the things that people will not be super stoked about with level scaling, that it makes, you know, small or large parties all viable, like small, medium, large, all viable. I actually really like the fact that if you run around with one guy, you can still do stuff, or if you want to run around with a really big party, I don't think it's a terrible thing at all. If if it was mandatory to have 5 people for this fight or that fight, everyone would start feeling like they need to run similar groups as opposed to experimenting and having a little bit of fun, which is all this is meant to be about. So we get a couple of things from the tracker there, and I don't think we need anything else right now. But we do learn the reinforced layer to give us some extra armor and strength. Okay, so the Bandit Layer, taking out the 3 skulls that were around the map, reduces the strength of the Bandit Layer and pretty much puts them in line with some of the groups that I'd been fighting around the map. I do go after the hoodlums as quickly as I can, again just trying to make sure I'm taking as few poison ticks as possible. I then engage the poacher instead of the marauder so that he can't shoot me, because obviously getting shot by the poachers is when they do the most damage. Bandit Lair complete. I really wanted to clear the Bandit Lair so that I got all these extra skill books for the starting skills. Not that first aid is useful at all, but I still kind of put it on him just in case. But sprint is the one that I really wanted to add in here as well, because being able to choose to disengage meant that I was in a much better position. Also allowed me to, close with archers or close with the more dangerous enemies faster as well. So for sleeping next to animals for 15 nights, we managed to get another title there too. And so, as I said, we're keen on getting as many titles as we possibly can to do all the challenges that we want to do. So we finally get our steel claymore, and we are not yet level 5. And we just make a little bit more armor, just because we can. Armor patches, that is, armor layers. Alrighty, so this is, at this point, I pretty much decide, look, I think we've sort of done everything we need to do. I do go and pick up the gurney blueprint, because I figure if I can heal my character on a rest, that'll save me from having to have medicine in my bags all the time as well. I do think it'll be cool, in one of the screenshots from their early, not Ask Me Anythings, but their early updates on the game before it came out into closed beta, they had some pictures of, different people around the camp doing different things. And in one of the pictures, there's an armorer or a blacksmith kind of sitting out the back, doing his thing. And I'm kind of curious to see whether that's something they implement in the game, where you get an armorer that repairs and fixes armor whilst you are camping each evening, which I thought would be pretty good. We get a Wolf Tamer title, fantastic, one of my favorites. I do think the Wolf Tamer is maybe my favorite title there. I think I just like it more than Pig's Bane or Braggart or anything like that. It works for me, that's all. Okay, so we've got, got a few things where we're up a bit high in our carry weight, if I'm honest. I hate having to leave things behind. All right, and we go in for rat infestation number 2. So I'm still not level 5, but I feel like I am slightly better equipped with all the starting skills that I have now. And I really like that I can reach the first plague outgrowth on my first turn, and the second one is right next to the broodmother. So I'm feeling pretty confident with this one that I can defeat more than the ones that I did before. And it is honestly having sprint that allowed me to do it. So it allows me to get another hit off on, I think it's the second round or something like that, before the rat spawn starts becoming a little bit overwhelming. Now, had I been a swordsman with, can't remember what his laceration. I think it's one of the other specs. He can only use medium armor, but does get a nice AoE attack. It would have given me the ability to potentially take out more of these rats, but I don't know that it would have meant kind of much difference overall. The rat stacking up fever is one of the hardest things to deal with. And yeah, definitely not something you just can't live very long in those rat fights. So I was pretty happy taking out a couple of the outgrowths, and I actually figured that if I managed to kill those 3 outgrowths and that's all, I actually have the ability to make a fair few of the alchemical oils, and so long as I make the right ones, then I'll be fine as well. So I had my 100 teeth and decided to buy a couple of little recipes there. Nothing too special. Just drop a few things to again speed us back up. And it's at this point that I am still checking for all the merchants for heavy armor, as well as thinking it is time to get a new pony. 2 ponies has served us well to this point in time, but there's nothing that we really want to get rid of in the inventory, and so going for that next pony is the game plan. So I'm back to trying to get prepped for some of the later challenges by creating my one-handed sword and shield. I don't do a great job with crafting my one-handed sword, and it ends up being a little bit lower in stats, so I end up sticking with a two-handed claymore to begin with. Alright, another pony joins our team. Another 2 ponies, in fact. I basically didn't want to have to loop back here again, or do anything else to improve my carry weight. So at this point, I decide I'll check out some of the other quests in this region. Doing the Seeker Hunt is one that I was keen on, in part just to see whether, again, it was possible. It was a red fight, and a number of level 4 wolves. So what did we have in the end? I think the 4 of them there. And we get off to a pretty good start against them. So Seeker does hit hard, but with all of the skills and the single target damage that we have, plus Wrath, we managed to take her down pretty successfully. I don't go and hand that one in straight away. I think I leave it for a little while and do a little bit of a loop just to finish off some other quests. And stock back up on the alcohol. So every single rest between the start of the game and now, I've been feeding him drinks just to try and get more and more of those titles. And I did want to start gathering some more iron here, so I didn't have enough iron ore to get all of the swords and armor and shields and stuff that I wanted, so I ended up deciding that I would clear this mine before either hiring a character to be my miner, or I actually change this guy over to be a miner a little bit later on as well. I'm probably going to chapter this video, I think, so that people can kind of flick through. It's probably pretty unlikely that people are going to watch this whole thing, but who knows, who knows. I've been having a little bit of a look at some of the, the viewer stats and whatnot that come up on the YouTube videos. It's all quite interesting stuff, actually. I think the average viewing time of some of my videos is about 10 minutes or so. And given that most of them run for a bit longer than that, it does mean that I think, this is probably the time of the video that people have either skipped past or not. So if you are still with me, thank you. I appreciate it. I do like not talking just to myself, but to others. And I'm having so much fun with this game. It is cool to see. There have been a number of people on Discord sort of going, "Oh, look, I'm a bit over 100 hours into the game already." And given that it's early access, I think that's an absolutely incredible amount of time. The content in it so far is really good, and it's only going to get better as early access progresses. I don't know how many of you would have tuned into the Ask Me Anything or the AMA that the devs held the other day, but that was really, really cool. I love hearing from them firsthand what their plans for the game are and that kind of thing. So they have reduced the number of regions that they're looking at implementing, because the way that they're approaching each region has changed fairly significantly since their original announcements. So at the moment they're looking at implementing about 6 regions, each a pretty similar size to the ones that are currently exist. So obviously there's 3 right now: Tiltran County, the County of Arthas, and the province of Vertruse, or the Kingdom of Vertruse. So there's 3 regions out now. The Harag marshlands are coming in Q1 2022. And so we'll probably see a new region released every sort of 3 to 4 months, I would guess, over early access. I'm super curious to see all the new beasts. You will actually be able to get up to level 7 as part of that Q1 update. I'm assuming when they say level cap increase, they're only increasing it to 7 and not 9. Though when you open the character panel, you will see that, you know, there's a little tag in there for skills for characters to get up to level 9 as well. I just imagine, you know, running around with one level 9 dude and having just a bunch of skills available. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I feel like the one-man playstyle will become easier, I want to say. Just because unless you get outnumbered fairly significantly, or poisoned, I guess poison still remains a problem throughout the whole game. But the fights are not lasting for very many rounds as well. So I don't know. I'm curious. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how the development all progresses. So they are currently working on the like a new patch at the moment. That is, going to fix a few things that they talked about in the AMA. I think they're trialing a new happiness system and a couple of other things. I'm kind of curious to see what sort of character customization options they're going to include, but that's definitely on the task cards. And then level scaling is also listed in the roadmap as well. So obviously level scaling has been one of the more contentious issues, at least sort of in the Discord anyway. I don't really follow the Steam forum, so I'm not too sure how much it gets talked about there. And we will see, I guess, what solutions they come up with. Alrighty, so we just kind of continue progressing, fighting against some wolves and some other little bits and pieces. This was mostly just to try to keep the amount of money I had in the bank, you know, at a fairly healthy level. I did want to collect a little bit more leather and that kind of stuff as well. And just in case I needed to craft anything additional. It is at about this point where I've done the Bandit Layers, I've done the Ghost Pack, that my mind is switching to what are the next fights that I can take as well. So I'm now pretty much trying to prep for the Matthias Lund fight. And this is where I will start very soon skipping through some of the game so that you're not going to see it again from start to finish, just because the amount of prep that I had to do was fairly large. So we're at month 1 now, and I felt like it was going to just add another chunk of time that you didn't need to be watching the video, 10, 15 extra minutes, even at 4 times speed of prep that I needed to do just for the champion fights. And so that included things like getting the alchemical oils ready. It included things like seeing if I can get better armor from merchants. And so I was basically just like running around between the merchants. I think I even sort of, no, I didn't save and reload at all to try to reboot their inventory. Or did I once? Maybe I did once, I'm not too sure. Thought about doing it more just to see if I can get some better heavy armor, but just kind of figured, look, let's see what happens. If I get some, I get some. If I don't, I don't. I feel like if you put too many caveats on, oh, you need to do this specific thing and get this specific item, and that's the only thing that makes it possible. Well, it's not really a fun run if there's only one way to do it. So there's probably variations you can make on how I did this that would work as well. And I do take a little break there, and this is, I think, the next day when I kick back off. So I haven't done any fights. I think I just ran back to Arthas and kick off another ghost pack fight. So the ghost pack are now up to level 6 as well. So they're not kind of as soft and squishy as they were before. And I think if we hadn't been working on getting our titles as consistently as we did, we would have started really struggling against the ghost packs. Now you will notice there's a bit of a bug in this battle where we start fighting them and we actually end up getting titles every single time we kill something. So we ended up getting, I'm going to say 5 or 6 titles from this one battle. It ends up meaning, and I was kind of like, oh, that's really good to start with, but it actually wasn't amazing in the end. And I had to be very careful with my terror stacks here because I am currently on 4 stacks of terror. So I had to kill that thing before I ran and killed the nightmare in case I went up again on hit. Definitely didn't want to run away. There you go. We ended up getting like 8 titles or 7 titles and a level up as well. I can't remember when I actually hit level 5. There we go, we are level 5 now. And the level 5 skill that I ended up choosing was gain riposte on engagements. I did figure I could probably take that fight now, but decided against it. Yeah, so the level 5 skill I chose was riposte on engagement. I chose that because I wanted to try to find a way that I could hit more things in combat. I figured that if I had that and I managed to kill something with a hit, it would be possible that something else might engage me on that same turn and give me both additional valor points as well as dealing some extra damage to the enemy team faster. It's a bit of a tricky one to use at times because you're not allowed to move, and as soon as you move you lose it. So overall I'd say it's pretty good, it works, but I feel like a couple of all the other level 5 skills might have been valuable as well. So by this point, particularly after getting some extra titles in the last ghost pack fight, we don't find it too difficult. We do, I think, get 1 more title in that one. And we have counterattack. So I do decide that I need to upgrade my skills, and so here what I've done is run over to Vertruse Province and collect the skill mastery book. So I just grabbed that from the little secret area just north of the arena. And I'd pretty much just run from the ghost pack fight that I did on the other side of the continent straight here, knowing that that's what I wanted to upgrade. And then I start exploring just a little. I am still gathering more and more iron ore and some other materials that I need for crafting just to make some extra stuff. I was still thinking if I could craft a higher tier level, like a higher tier set of armor, that would be great. But was just going to see how it went. Okay, so we do some more mining. I did also want to run over here because this gets my miner up to companion level. So that's a 4 constitution and 2 strength bonus at that stage too. Getting that extra constitution is pretty handy because we are now up to some champion fights. So here, just off the cuff, I decide, can I take down the Colonel? I hadn't prepped specifically for this fight, and I had no idea how much damage her axe was going to do. But I now have 2 upgraded abilities, which is as many as you can get on the characters, and I decided to kick it off. So based on the last couple of fights that I'd done, my intention here was to try to strip her armor over a round or 2, then retreat, heal myself up, and then see if I could basically just do a huge bunch of damage in 1 round to try to take her down. In this particular fight, I run forward and take out her armor. Then I run back and throw the spear to increase the damage that I've dealt with the same number of moves. I use weakness to reduce attack damage a little bit, and we are good to go. And we managed to take down the Colonel 1-on-1 versus a champion. I did not think like it was actually going to be possible to start with, so I was a little bit excited to realize that I could take down the champions. Of course, you only get a level 4 axe. It's nothing amazing, so even if I get an axeman, I'm not getting some uber weapon from this approach. But that's not what it's about. If I wanted the strongest weapons, I'd play the game kind of more how you meant to play the game. Definitely not my approach normally. Okay, so after taking Alexa down, I'm basically moving on to and trying to get ready for the Lund fight. We're up to day 12 now, and we skipped to day 17 very quickly there. So I cut out a few days where I was basically running back and forth, trying to gather some alchemy ingredients. I was undecided whether for Lund I should be going for kind of strength oil that increases your damage, or something like the fortification oil, I want to say, the one that reduces the amount of damage you take. In the end, I decided on going for the fortification oil, and I put it on both my 1- and 2-handed weapons because I really wanted to see whether I could even survive 1 round of Lund kind of whacking at me. If I had chosen different fighter skills, such as applying weakness to the boss for a few rounds, I definitely think I could have survived a round or 2 of being wailed on, but it would have made all the other fights harder. So it's a bit of give and take as to which you want to go for. In the end, I do realize that I can't survive even 1 round of Lund attacking me. The hammer just does too much damage. And so what I have to do is run in and try to take out Lund's armor, heal up again, and repeat a couple of times. So we do some attacks, we run away, we heal, we start it up again. This time Lund has low armor, and I try to decide, can I kill you or not? And I sit here for a second and decide to retreat. Heal up again, and we go for it. I know, again, it's not the most conventional way to do things necessarily, but trying to 1v1 a champion that gets to move so many times per round, I figured I would pull out every trick in the book, and I love that I got the Braggart title after killing Lund there as well. I thought it was very appropriate. So that is pretty much a wrap on the end of this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I hope people enjoy watching. I'm going to try putting some chapters in there this time as well. I think that'll help. And overall, we will see how we go.